at achieving.
I remember that you mentioned during the launch that the textile industry in Nigeria is at least 20 years behind. How do you plan to bridge this gap, knowing full well that the fashion industry depends largely on that industry?
It's always helpful before you talk about moving forward to look at where you're coming from. And I think Nigeria's textile industry problem started from the 60s and 70s. Nigeria used to have an economy policy of import substitution. Now, under the import substitution, we banned textile importation. We protected the textile industry. The government of Nigeria protected the textile industry. Now, they enjoyed so much protection that they stopped being innovative. While the rest of the world was improving on the technology, the rest of the world was getting digital technology, Nigerian textile industry was asleep. This is the truth. Now, by the time they woke up, they suddenly realized that they couldn't compete, which is why today the average textile producer in Nigeria, his cost is much higher than those of the Asian producers. Now, what do we need to do to fix this? It's very simple. We need to leapfrog to the modern technology that's required for textile. There's digital textile technology today. And once we acquire that, we too can become competitive. Actually, I think there's been some engagement. In a few years ago, about four or 5 years ago, the government set up a cotton, textile and garment fund, a 100 billion naira fund, which was managed by the Bank of Industry. We actually disbursed about 60 billion, to most of the textile companies in Nigeria. Before the loan itself was converted to equity and it was assessed by other sectors. Now, that fund had an impact, but the impact was not significant in the sense that the technology issue was there, which is why I think whatever it is that we're doing today must address the nature of the technology that the industry is using. We cannot be using 1960, 1970 kind of technology and we're hoping to compete. It's not going to work. So my advice to the textile manufacturers is they should look at how can they elevate their technology to the modern sector. I know that there are environmental challenges, power issues, you have to get your own security, you have to get your own. I know, but even notwithstanding all those challenges, if you have the right technology and you have the right team, you can really compete. I visited a factory 2 weeks ago in Kano. The company is called Rumbu Sacks. They started only about 10 years ago. And, contrary to what is typically said about the nature of business in the north, that everything is more or less down and all that, Rumbu Sacks is operating at 80% capacity. But when you interact with the promoter of that company, you will see a man that is very passionate about the business, that has a very deep understanding of what is required, and that keeps improving on the technology deployed. You see, Nigerian businesses must understand that nothing happens by chance. You have to fix the relevant elements of the business. You cannot, business doesn't happen by just talking about it. And this is the same thing I would like to recommend to our textile producers. Enough looking for government support. Let's fix the elements of our business. Do we have the right technology? Do you have the right team in place to actually implement and run the technology? The fund size is 1 billion naira. There's a moratorium period of about 6 months, and the maturity is about 5 years. We've done 1 billion because we just went to test the market, and I'm sure that as time goes on, you know, and as BOI also develops the capacity to do more, we will consider the possibility of increasing the facility limit. But this is notwithstanding the decision to also partner with the industry leaders to set up the fashion production hub, which we believe is is going to be the trigger really for the industry to start a truly exponential growth.
Okay, this fashion fund, this 1 billion naira, is exclusively for women in the fashion industry. When are we going to have that for men?
The original intention was to limit this to women, but I mean, based on the interaction in that room, it's obvious that we really need to almost immediately open it up to men as well. Because if we are going to set up a fashion production hub, I mean, most of the machinists are actually male people. So it only follows that we make it unisex.
That's our package today on BOI Weekly. Before I let you go, I'd like to remind you that you can find suitable funding options for your business at boinigeria.com. Also, remember to download the BOI SME Loan app from the Google Play Store so that you can start applying for your loan today. If you want to know how the BOI Loan app can benefit you, just tweet at me at @KAlayonde and I'll be there to point you in the right direction. I'm Kayode Alayonde. Wherever you go, whatever you do, don't forget to wear at least a piece made in Nigeria.